Hey everyone! So I'm here to show you how to make a fabric cover. So last night I kind of sat down and did this. Nothing is sewn yet because I have to cut the fabric down to size. But I think this is how I kind of want my cover to look. So I'm just going to move these guys aside and show you what we'll be doing. So of course this is my template, right? And I encourage everyone to do a template. So whatever size journal you want, always make a template. This is just copy paper. And I decided to go with this fabric as opposed to this one or this one. But what I did was I kind of cut a square out of this one because I'm gonna sew on a square, and then I had this trim here, so I also cut a square out of that, and I'm gonna sew that as well, kind of collage the two together. Then I have this lace, and I decided that I'm gonna use the lace as well on my cover, and then of course the buttons and the charm and everything. So once you have your fabric picked out, you want to go ahead and cut it down to size. I have not cut mine down to size, so I'm going to take my template and I'm going to just cut a piece of this fabric. So you don't have to, but I'm going to leave a little space just in case. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just need a piece that will cover your entire template. Yeah, I cut it out real crooked, but as long as it fills, you know, it'll cover the entire template, that's all you want. And I'm gonna go and iron this. But before I do that, I'm making these a little differently than how I normally would make them. Normally I would make a sack and then put a thicker paper in the sack and then sew it up, and then that's my cover. But I don't want the other side to be fabric. I kind of want it to be one of these pattern papers. So this is the paper that I want, and I want that to be the cover, but then this to be the inside cover. And so since it's cardstock, it's thick, but you see how it has, you can see the pattern on the other side through, and it's like this writing. So I'm going to take a plain piece of paper here, and I'm probably going to glue this onto this and then sew this onto the cover so that it's not only a thicker cover, but you don't see the pattern on either side. So if you have a fabric that's thick enough that you don't see this, you don't have to put this extra piece, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my template again and cut out a piece from here and a piece from there, because that's going to be my inside cover. Right, so that's going to go like that, and then I kind of want to make a pocket on the inside as well, and so I kind of want to use this as a pocket. So when I go to sew everything, I'm gonna stitch this guy on as a pocket. I'm gonna stitch it here and here as a pocket. First, let me glue these two pieces together. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly glued because we're going to go in and stitch, but you just want to, if you have a pattern that you don't want to see and your fabric isn't as thick, you just want to have that reassurance that you don't see the pattern through the fabric. That, and it makes it a little thicker, right? And so this is the back of my thing, so I'm probably just going to stitch this on. But first I want to stitch this on to here to make that pocket. Then I'm going to stitch the whole thing onto this. So I'm going to go iron my cover fabric piece. and do the collage first before we adhere everything else to the cardstock. Okay, so I'm back. You can still see some of the lines, but it'll flatten out once it's sewn and everything. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to lay it here, and with my pencil I am going to kind of create a guide so that I know, because I really don't want to trim it yet. So a little guide. And now I'm going to do my collage. So I know I had it, I actually took a picture of this, so I'm going to go and onto my phone and see if I can find a photograph that I took. So this is kind of how I had my cover laid out when I first did it. And so I'm just going to go and sew the fabric pieces in. And then once I have those sewn in, I'm going to go ahead and sew the buttons and the charm. And then this is a little Tim Holtz resin flower. So I'm probably going to use some glue just to glue that there onto the cover. And I already have my sewing machine set up to sew it with some cream thread. I think I'm going to use some cream thread to add a little bit of the cream into this cover. So I'm going to go to sew that and I'll come back. Okay, so I have that sewn up, and so I'm going to go ahead and hand sew these buttons on and then glue that. And then I think I may put that down with a bobby pin. I haven't decided yet, so I'm just going to leave that to the side, but I am going to go ahead and hand stitch these guys onto my cover. So there they go. I'm going to actually glue this on last. So once I have my cover all done, I might glue that on last, because I might glue that with some E6000. That takes about 24 hours to completely dry. So I have that down, and now I'm going to go ahead and start adhering the backing to this. First, I have to sew my pocket onto this. So this is going to be the front, so it has to be like that. And I want to sew my pocket on with this lace. So I'm going to go and take this to my sewing machine so that I can sew on this little lace pocket onto this before I sew this onto this. Alright, so I have my little pocket here. So this is going to go on the inside, and this is going to curl this way. So I have to probably fold it first. I'm going to see if I fold it first and then stitch it onto this. So I know my center is there. So I think before I go ahead and stitch it, I might actually apply a little bit of glue on this side and then place the fabric down on it so that it stays while I run it through the sewing machine. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this little glue stick and I'm just going to maybe glue over here. So not towards the edges, because that's where I kind of want to stitch. So like sort of like in the center, just a little bit of glue. This is just a glue stick too, so it's not even thick glue. And then I'm going to place my fabric on top of it. I'm going to try to line up to where I did that outline here. That way it kind of stays in place, you know. Now, when I make altered books and I adhere the fabric onto like the altered book cover, I normally use heat and bond. So you can do that too. You can run the cover fabric with some heat and bond and then iron it on to this back cover and then stitch. That is something that I would do. It's just I don't have heat and bond. I don't have enough heat and bond to do that, so here I'm just going to do it with some glue. Now I'm just going to go run it through. Now I'm going to run it through my sewing machine here, and I'll come back. Alright, so I stitched my cover together. So what I'm going to do now is just cut off the excess fabric. So I realized that I think I want a closure on mine. That's why I took out this kind of rope string, but I think I may just wait until I have the journal all filled before I put a closure on it. So that is how I make my little cover.